Hello, hello. Welcome in, everybody, to today's webinar. We're excited to be joining you all. Today, we're going to be talking about leveraging tech and AI, which is, I think, a very pertinent conversation to be had, considering how popular AI has become and how we can kind of leverage that to best serve our organizations, our churches. So I have Daniel here with me. In a moment, we'll introduce ourselves, but I'll just give a
Hello.
moment for everyone to join. I see everyone knows the deal to join and tell me where you're coming from.
Yeah, that's good. This is like well-trained group.
Yeah, it's a well-trained group. They know because that's the question I'm going to ask. I
Boom.
just like to see where people are tuning in from. Got people in Indiana, North Carolina. Where's Mooresville, North Carolina? I wonder. I'm from North Carolina, so I should know, but I'm from a very small town, so I didn't explore much of that state as much as I should have. Hi, Bob from Eugene.
And it's fun. I'm from Massachusetts, Seattle. Okay, so John, we have a football game coming up soon between the Patriots and the
Uh-oh.
Seahawks. So yeah,
Some healthy rivalry,
the
some healthy
Super Bowl
competition.
rematch, which I don't anticipate my team winning, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Oh, cool. Okay, well, just
Savannah.
to reiterate, I see people are still joining, but just to kind of summarize again, today we're going to be talking about how to leverage tech and AI without losing the human touch. And so, yeah, we're just super excited for you guys to be joining us. Before we jump into the main content of things, just to kind of reiterate that our goal, of course, with all of Tithely, but especially with these webinars, is just to serve you guys and give you the tools and the resources that you need to manage your church and your organization well. And so, of course, with Tithely, that means no extra steps. We try to make it as simple as possible. We don't want to leave you with unanswered questions, and then just simple pricing. So making sure that you have access to the tools that you need is really our goal. So with today, if you have any questions that come up specific to what we're talking about,
Mm.
feel free to go ahead and drop them in the Q&A channel. Of course, you can chat with each other in the chat space and, give us a thumbs up or encouragement or whatever. But if it's specific to what we're talking about, the best place to put that is in the Q&A channel, which I believe for you guys is found on the bottom portion of your screen. Once you submit those questions, we'll have time at the end for us to go back and address those. But with that, I'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Mariah. I'm a part of our education team here at Tithely. So all of the KBAs, all of the webinars, Tithely University is all stuff that our education team has hands in. And so you've probably seen a lot of us kind of floating around, including DMAC, because he's the team lead. But I've been at Tithely for a little over 3 years now. A little over 3.5 years. Started in our support team and then did basically several other positions between then and now. But I would say that this is definitely my most favorite position that I've had at Tithely because we're able to proactively give you guys the tools and resources you need to be successful. And so, yeah, just super excited to be joining you guys today. And with that, I'll give Daniel an opportunity to tell us more about himself.
Yeah, so I've been at Tithely for 5.5 years, but my previous career was in the ministry staff. I did anything from church plants for campus ministry to young marrieds to leading a small church of 150 people. So I've had just different categories. Basically, I was always, most of the time, I was the second pastor or associate minister, or whatever title that different churches give. So basically, anything that the lead couple couldn't do was down to me. And a lot of that was technology, and a lot of that
Yeah.
was figuring out creative ways to multiply everything I do so that it's impactful now. And even today, now in the last 5 years, I help lead in the teaching group in my church. I do. I help lead the preteens. I mentor teens. I lead a small group. So I have my fingers everywhere in terms of the ministry and trying to do a lot of fun stuff. And before that, I actually have a degree in engineering, which I've never used. I just went right into ministry. So
Right.
engineering degree to ministry
Right.
to church technology. It's a good
Yeah.
flow of my life. I love it. I'm enjoyed where I've been. So
Yes. And also my boss. So
well,
everyone be
well,
on your best behavior today. No, that's cool. So yeah, I think what we'll start with before we get into things is just kind of making a note, and this is just something personally I felt like it's important to share. A lot of the conversation around AI, especially with churches, comes with some fear
mm,
around like losing that human aspect, and so that's what we're really going to be talking about today. But my first question for you is, there's some real tension in ministry right now where pastors have that burnt out prone experience from administrative overload, and that so many are terrified to adopt AI and automation, worrying that it might make themselves feel cold or mechanical. So, from your perspective, what's the best way, how do we pastorally reframe technology for something that completes or competes with a ministry tool that actively protects face to face shepherding?
Yeah, it is a good question. I think the key component to AI in any field, honestly, not but specifically when we're working in churches and we're working with people's hearts and minds and souls, we're trying to present love, like all of the added categories we're trying to do. That technology, not even just AI, is a multiplier, not a replacer. And I
Hmm.
think that's the step that we have to mentally click in our brain, even in our job, right? It can't replace us. We have to use it to help create better documents for everyone else to use. So in the case of ministry, technology itself is neutral. AI is neutral. It's not evil and
Yep.
it's not good. It just kind of exists. And
Mhm.
so that's what we can go with. Holy Spirit led leadership and heart work is really the key component that comes from us. And AI should be treated as a production assistant that helps amplify a pastor's words or
Mhm.
creates an article that you can send out without spending hours kind of craft it perfectly. It can become an unhealthy substitute if it's used, for example, to write sermons from scratch. Like you wake
Mhm.
up Sunday morning, your church starts at 10, it's 9:55.
Right.
Like, I need a sermon today. Give me something to preach. Like that's dangerous, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not what you want to be using, or fabricating voices or replacing human relationships, right? Those are things you want to avoid. But empowering your team to use AI responsibly actually expands their capacity for personal connection because they're going to do less of the administrative back end work and have the time to meet with other people. There's
Yeah.
a great podcast, kind of YouTube video by Corey Alderin. And he
Mhm.
mentioned a lot of these ideas. And in his episode 5, is how AI is changing the reach and impact of sermons online. And I will say that as you kind of watch that or just think about this idea, consider this: anything can be used for evil, and just about anything can be used for God or for good. So why
Mhm.
not use AI for good and for God? It's kind of similar to well, I lost my context there, but we all know that AI is being used for evil, right? We see plenty of stuff out there on social media, everywhere else. So why not put out content that creates and uplifts God and uplifts the idea that we want to bring glory and praise to Him, using AI to shine God's glory instead of avoiding it, so that it doesn't, so it's just being served for the other side, we'll say. So
Yeah, that's good. And I guess you kind of already answered this, and it's a little bit difficult to answer, actually. I guess it depends on the circumstances, but is there a line that you see between tech as a digital assistant versus that unhealthy substitute? Like, where would you draw that line?
ooh. So for me, for example, I did a class not too long ago for my church, and we were having a discussion with the leadership team ahead of time, or the teaching team ahead of time, on like how we're creating these lessons. And so I always
Mhm.
do is I always have not just a summary, I have a bullet point, and I almost write out word for word. So like that lesson that I
Yeah.
made was probably like 15 pages long with my scraps, notes, images, all that kind of stuff. And what I did is and then I put it into Gemini or some other AI agent and asked it to give me a summary of what it sees here. And I saw that summary. And then what I did is I built my lesson off of the summary that it took from all of my notes. And so it allows me to process myself. And so the line's got to be where it's my content that I'm enhancing, understanding, or building out a little bit more, but it has to come from you. I think that's the line.
Yeah.
It's all personal, though. Every person's going to be different with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see in the chat here, Tammy says as well that they actively use AI as like a starting point for their multiple uses, like sermons or
Yeah.
social medias. And that's a great point. It's what we're talking about now. It's just finding ways to save yourself time, which does kind of play into our next question. But if we
Time
were
saving.
able to sit down with an average church team and audit their week, like a massive chunk of time seems to go to what we would call like the invisible friction,
Yep.
which is, formatting newsletters, coordinating volunteer routines, rekeying data, all that kind of stuff. So, from your seat leading product education, what are the most significant administrative drains you see crippling church staff today?
I mean, I'll just share personally mine. First of all, it's any PowerPoint presentation, but that's a
Yeah.
joke. But it's true.
Yeah.
But it's a joke.
True.
I just am not good enough at this. So,
Yeah.
but no, yeah. I mean, the average church team just spends hours, right? Like And
Mhm.
administration stuff, there's some people out there, and there's probably more than some that enjoy that type of thing. So we don't take that away from them. But
Right.
most of us aren't looking to go there and spend 3 hours crafting the perfect email and to send to our church. When we have the ideas, thoughts, and information, we just need to get it out there, or an image that we search the internet for to place in there. So church team spending all this time trying to figure out repetitive, redundant tasks, processing meeting notes, whatever it may be. It's because we're failing. This is happening because we're failing to solve the issues that. Sorry, I'm going to say this the right way. We are failing to solve these issues. Is that it doesn't actually solve the task every time we go and do it manually. We're just
Mhm.
bumping down the task again to have to do it again and again and again. And when
Right.
you're stuck doing manual data entry or manual labor, in a sense, you're you're just putting yourself in this loop that is just going to keep adding. And guess what? It's not like you're going to get less stuff to do over time. More stuff comes onto our plate as we go around. And so finding ways to use AI to leverage the stuff that you can't do well, don't do well, or just really would rather do something else that's going to be more beneficial from your time makes so much sense. This is exactly where AI comes in to solve this problem for us. For example, I'll give you this one. It's not the miracle of the 5 loaves and 2 fish, but it kind of is in a sense that you are replicating something that you don't have right now, right? And so
Mhm.
it's a highly practical tool that gives you the opportunity to multiply resources you already have so you can focus on your ministry. I'll give you some deliberate examples. Training others. So the time you get back, you can train others. And so instead of spending 3 hours writing up your review or some kind of summary to send out to church, if that's taken care of, as soon as your email, as soon as your sermon is done on, you say it's on YouTube, you can just take it right from YouTube and take
Right.
down what the summary is. You can meet with somebody else afterwards instead, right?
Mhm.
There's no
Yeah.
rush jobs too as well. Like you don't have to quickly get something done in 5 minutes because you just ran out of time. You can have some
Mhm.
of these things automated for you so that you can then go meet with other people or reflect
Yeah.
with God after your sermon or whatever it might be. If you want an idea to what to do, you got to find something. If you want to figure out what to do, find something that you do every day, every week, or every month that if you didn't have to do would free up some time for something else that
Yeah.
you can do better, right? Um,
Mhm.
it's even better if you don't like doing it. For example, PowerPoints. Every lesson
Yeah.
I preach now, I don't make my own PowerPoints. Now I
Mm.
review them, I look at them, I make sure they look great. But I take my summary, I take my notes, I take recordings, whatever it may be, and I input it in, and it just starts building out the PowerPoint for me, the images, the text, the questions, the flair of it. And from there, then I go and review it. And the reviewing it takes 20 minutes. For me to build that, it would have taken me 3 hours. And so there's just
Yeah.
a huge difference in what you can do. So yeah, I'm just figuring out
Yeah.
ways to improve your reach and impact by freeing up time for stuff you don't need to keep doing.
And I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but I think it's a good follow-up question. Can you talk a little bit about how to build confidence with AI,
Ooh,
specifically when it comes to, like, this scenario? Because I think even
yeah,
still, all of us are learning it. Like, there's people who are exceptional at it at Tithely, and they're, like, my go-to because 'cause I'm not
yeah.
always sure I'm doing the right thing. So I think speaking to the confidence of AI is something that's kind of in tandem of what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think step one, you should do your own research on what people are using out there right now. Like really dig into it. I have a couple suggestions that I can mention in here that you can go look at. There's definitely AI platforms that are designed to help ministry and that type of element. So
Mhm.
figuring out what those are, how to use them, what they are, that's great. Step one. Step two is just try. Maybe
Yeah.
what you do is what I might do is write a sermon and then write your own summary of that sermon that you're going to send out in an email, and then
Mhm.
take that same sermon, plug it into an AI agent, and see if it comes up with a similar summary. See what you're getting, do a comparison,
Yeah.
kind of match up your work to get that confidence. And then, I mean, number one is never send something out that AI has produced without review. So you
Yeah.
should have
Yeah.
confidence, but you shouldn't have absolute confidence. You shouldn't just be like,
Yeah.
hey, this is great. I don't have to do anything or think anything. I'm just going to throw it out there. You will get burned very
Mhm.
quickly and it won't be good for you. And so, just in
Yeah.
general, I think that's step one, two, and three is practice with it, do some research with it, and always just review. Even if you've done it 100 times, I would still double check and make sure what you're producing is what you want to say, because you can't go back and blame AI later. I mean, you can, but it's going to be you. You're the one that sends it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Thank you for sharing that. Um, with kind of the next question we have here is pastors can spend 10 to 15 hours every week creating their sermon, but by
mm,
Monday afternoon, the impact often stalls out. And
yeah.
so, can you kind of walk us through how a ministry team can take AI to build a content engine, so to say, And then how do you practically turn that single sermon transcript into a midweek devotional, like discussion questions, kind of what you were just saying. Like, how do you turn that sermon into
Yeah.
something that reaches people further than what they just heard on Sunday?
Yeah, first of all, I do want to say all the ministers, pastors, preachers out there, when you do a lesson and then like 5 days later you ask somebody, hey, so what'd you think of the thought on Sunday? And they just don't
Like,
remember.
I don't know.
Like,
I can't remember.
I feel you. I've been there.
Yeah.
First of all, I always akin it to like, I don't remember what I ate 5 days ago, so I probably won't remember what I heard
Yeah.
on Sunday too often. But hopefully it's changing my brain and I'm making
Mhm.
changes. But that aside, just wanted to put that up there. But yeah, I mean, 10 to 15 hours. I don't know. I might have spent more on sermons
Yeah.
because they were just so important. And you want to make sure that you're not presenting something not just not great, but not true, right? And
Right.
so you should spend that time preparing your message, whatever it may be, for a midweek, for a lesson, for a Sunday, whatever that is. Prepare that time. But afterwards, you can take that data, the information, your sermon. You can
Mhm.
actually kind of create a short form video, extracting key moments,
Mhm.
centering information that you had, and being able to send that out. You can have it make something like that for
Mhm.
you with your voice if you want. You can voice over it. You can build videos from that, right? And actually,
Mhm.
Corey Alderin talks about that a little bit too. Discipleship assets. You can create 5 days of quiet times or devotionals or small group discussions right from your lesson. And there you can review it quickly, but you don't have to spend another 3 hours coming up
Mhm.
with a lesson off your lesson. That's where AI could take what you've done, what you've
Yeah.
created, what you cultivated, and create more from it directly from your words. You can ask it to take direct quotes. You could take the YouTube video that's out there and have that video be transcribed and your exact words being put out. Like, so you can
Yeah.
really take a lot of cool stuff. You could translate it. If you're not translating using AI, if you're still translating some other way, you're wasting a lot of time. Put it
Yeah.
into as many languages as in your church. If you got people that speak Creole in your church, change your
Yeah.
sermon to Creole and send it to them. They'll be so encouraged. Like Spanish, we have a ton of Spanish. Where I live now, there's Cambodians, and we have a lot of Cambodians in our church. There's different languages. They're like,
Yeah.
I don't speak that language very well. I know a couple words, but I can't. So I could transcribe for them, right? Um,
Yeah.
I said this already, but you can have AI review your sermon afterwards. Tell you, like, you can ask somebody, hey, what was my sermon about? And then ask AI to review it. If you want to get better at what you're doing,
Yeah.
it's a self review. I said this already, but audio to text pipeline, small group guides, midweek
Mhm.
devotionals, social media. We all hate it. I mean, really true. It's just, but if we don't put
Yeah.
positive stuff on social media, we're missing so much opportunity. And our members are reading and watching and going on every social media thing everywhere. You can just create social media posts
Mhm.
and put it out there from what you built. And so use what you have to multiply. It's going to change how you impact people around you.
Yeah. And just to kind of make a plug as well, not to another webinar, but it is. Next month, we're doing a webinar that has a lot to do with our Breeze and CHMS products and
Ooh,
messaging and follow ups and groups and all that kind of stuff. So, recommend looking out for that when it does come because a lot of what we're talking about really does play into several tools that Tithely offers
yeah.
where, you're able to ask AI, what's the best way to follow up with everyone based on my sermon today, how can I summarize things and then utilize things like groups and tags and messaging and like mass or bulk text and email, all that kind of stuff. It just plays into what everything you're saying. At least my brain oftentimes does do the same thing where after Sunday, it's like in one ear, not the other. And I'm not trying to, but a follow up would be nice of like all of the things that we should focus on that week.
Yeah.
And AI is certainly able to help you, but a lot of that also plugs into the tools that we give you within Tithely and Breeze and whatever, aspects of our software that we use. Um,
Awesome.
so just wanted to make a plug to that. But next question is going to be that we've all seen those AI generated copies that sound generic, they sound corporate, they
Yeah.
sound disconnected from like church culture. And so, what's kind of the framework for teaching leaders how to prompt or edit the AI tools so that the output actually reflects their specific church rather than it sounding, like a robot?
Yeah, I think I've answered some of this question, but it's
Yeah.
it's good to rehash out. Your authentic voice is so important. You
Mhm.
have to start with that, and if you do that, people know that I'm not a great writer that have known me very long. If I write something out, it's gonna be sloppy. My grammar's off. Sentence structure. Just my 9-year-old daughter is probably a better writer than me, and so which I'm not ashamed of. It's just reality. I was an engineer by trade. I didn't care about
Yeah.
writing stuff. I wrote tech reports, which were not real sentences half the time.
Yeah.
So authentic voice, but don't be afraid to use AI to enhance what you're saying so it's more clear, right? That's the
Mhm.
for me where it is. You feed your raw sermon, you feed your data, you feed the scriptures and the thoughts and the studies you've done, your own quiet
Mhm.
times, your own research. You take that stuff and you let AI create, and then don't just stop there. Then say, and I need it to be within my voice. Like, can we edit this to sound like me? Not again to deceive anyone, but you can use AI to come and match
Yeah.
how your style is. You can input one of your previous sermons and say, hey, this is how I flow. This is what I do. I want this to kind of be aligned with that, taking that kind of this. So you're preserving your message, but
Mhm.
enhancing it where it goes at that. I like that some prompts here I have. I use this one. Help me make this point more inspiring and less attacking. Like that,
Yeah.
write your lesson and then prompt it there and have it
Yeah.
go through. That will change you because obviously
Mhm.
there are times when you want to come across powerful and you want to come across like this is important. But if your church feels like you're attacking them, like
Right.
we're shutting off, right?
Mhm.
Share a summary of what I just wrote so I can hear how it sounds back to me. I said this a couple
Mhm.
times. Summarize. Help me say this in a way that connects to the cross. Like words, you can ask,
Yeah.
you can prompt it to take what you've done to enhance and build upon it. And then you have to go through afterwards and make sure it flows your way. You have to kind of
Mhm.
button it up a little bit. But again, it still saves you a lot of time thinking through this is what I want. Help me get to here. And so you're
Yeah.
connecting dots, not building all that. You're almost connecting the dots, not having the AI build every dot for you. You're figuring out how to get from point A to point B to point C. And so
Yeah.
ask questions about your lesson and see if it
Mhm.
comes back what you're thinking your lesson should be about. And if it doesn't match up, something's missing, right? Like you got to
Yeah.
reconnect. Or here's a really good one. And all the church people that listen in the pulpit, how do I make my sermon shorter? Like you can
Yeah.
shorten. And again,
Yeah.
I know it doesn't matter. You can still go off on tangents, but it's a good one. How do I make my sermon shorter? So there we go. That's kind of what I would say for authentication.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put your prompts in here just so people can see it in the chat and just get
Yeah.
some ideas of things that they can use. Um, but I will say, I think something that to touch on and what I really would like people to take away as we're talking more about this is that I think there's just a worry that even if you're prompting AI, that it's inauthentic because
Mhm.
it's not actually you saying it.
Yeah.
And so I think if you have any personal experiences, I know you just shared like examples of way that you make it sound more like yourself, but
Yeah.
can you speak at all to your experience of getting comfortable with the fact that AI is helping, it's not detracting from that human aspect of things?
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, especially with a sermon, maybe some written stuff that I've done, this is more
Mm,
challenging. But I write out my sermons almost word for word, right? When I do it, but
yeah,
I almost never read them word. I mean, I never read word. There's a couple points that maybe I really hone in on. It's
yeah,
still my flow. And so like I say relieve yourself of guilt. You shouldn't feel guilty about using technology to present God's message better, right? If it's your
yeah,
message that you're feeling inspired from and you've grown through and you've built
mhm,
and you sweat through, you got to feel okay about it. But a lot of ways, like when I do my sermons, I'm just up there speaking and I'm following my notes, but it's more prompts that
right,
allow me to present it. So if you really feel heavy about it, instead of having it write your sermon, have it write prompts that are going to inspire you to talk from. Like you
mm,
can just
yeah,
take that. And so it's similar to what we have here. You wrote some prompt questions. I've been answering them, right?
mhm,
Like I have a couple
yeah,
answers here, but most of the word for word I've not been doing. I have
right,
it there as just what's prompting my mind to kind of share in preparation for this. Same with a sermon. Ask it to make some prompts for you because then you are
mhm,
speaking from your heart. You're letting
yeah,
yourself be inspired. And so whatever gets you to the place where you feel like comfortable and confident that you're able to speak and
mhm,
it's not some robot in the back end of you puppet mastering you to tell the
mhm,
masses what to
yeah,
do. That's important, but it's going to be different for each person as they go through it.
yeah. Yeah, and I hear that's kind of what you're saying, and is that find the gap that AI can serve in, and it doesn't have to be the same way that everyone else uses AI. Because I
Yeah.
know, like, even between you and I, and between the rest of our, ops team and whatever, like, we all have completely different ways that we use
Yeah.
AI. So I think it does kind of eliminate the stress from a church aspect to know that you don't have to like, hey, it doesn't have to be writing your sermons. You can use it in another way and it still be just as helpful. It's just finding gaps where you can save yourself time, I think is really what you're getting at here.
Yeah. And written word wise, I jump in. Similarly, like, I would just make sure you go through and read the whole thing yourself.
Yeah,
Never just have it produce something that you're emailing
yeah,
out. Read it, understand it, add in some extra flair to it. Don't be afraid to change something because AI isn't perfect.
yeah,
Make it your own from there. That's also helpful. Or any kind of post that you do. I would say if you don't take the
yeah,
time to read it fully through, then you aren't taking it serious that this is something that you're using to help enhance. It's becoming you instead of you being you using it. So
Yeah, 100%. Well, we'll do a little shift now into like kind of the operational side of things. We're gonna talk like specifically about events, check-ins, volunteer scheduling, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
How do the automated workflows inside tools like Tithely Service Planning or any of our partner integrations like Ministry Safe actually create a safer, more organized experiences for families rather than making them feel like a number in a database?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the gathering of better data, right?
Mhm.
The more we can know that's in a safe, protected environment that we allows us to understand the people that we're serving, the better we're going to be able to care, right?
Mhm.
Using a CHMS, and we're Tidely, so we love our CHMS and
Right.
ministry safe integrations. Those together, right? That alone, if you have your church managed software and then you have ministry safe, which goes through and does background checks and trainings to help protect in so many different areas. If you use
Mhm.
those two functions to build up your people, you're only helping to serve and protect them in a greater way. And then
Right.
on top of that, you can use AI to gain a better understanding of what you're even seeing, right? Like you could take your church roster and the ages. You can ask AI to go, okay, give me a range gap, like how many people have here, here, and here. And then you could kind of get an idea of what you're seeing. So you use a CHMS to build something, and then you use AI to help enhance the data you have to figure out who you're reaching to, right?
Mhm.
And if you're like,
Yeah.
okay, most of the people showing up to church in this day are between the age of 30 and 45. Okay, like maybe I need to change my sermons away from all Gen Z to to millennials or whatever it may be, or if it's 16 to 25, like
Yeah.
it really helps us. Instead of, and I think really important, instead of standing on stage begging for volunteers,
Mhm.
which if you haven't done this, you haven't
Yeah.
been in
Yeah.
church. You're like,
Yeah.
please, which go ignored pretty quickly because everyone's gonna have some reason in their brain.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you need when you use a church manager software. Like, I need this many people on this day and here and here. Instead of saying, hey, we need people to volunteer, say on 3 weeks from now, we have Kids Kingdom or whatever your kids program is called, and we have 4 spaces that we need filled, or we're gonna have to bring the children into service with us. And whether that's a threat or good for people, it depends. But
Yeah.
that's important there. You can use your calendar data from there to generate announcements and help
Mhm.
people understand what's going out, to send the bulletin out, in-service slides, I already said before, ensuring that your message gets to the right people. But using the data we have is so important. I put it
Yeah.
this way. I asked I asked AI to generate this for me, and this was fun. I kind of had my rough notes, but
Yeah.
it came. I didn't add this in. It said the green zone and the red zone, right? The green zone, delegate to AI and tech, formatting, summarizing, drafting, email newsletters, transcribing sermons, creating group discussions, right? Admin scheduling, volunteer reminders. Like you should be using a platform that has this opportunity for you and using AI to supplement it. For example, our platform, it does schedule reminders. You don't have to do that manually. If you're doing that manually, you're wasting
Yeah.
time trying to figure out how to fill in all these spots. Now you can go back and review it. Things you shouldn't use AI for when you're leading a church or anything: pastoral care, counseling, crisis management, right? Someone
Yeah.
calls up and they're struggling, right? We know we've had those calls. They're really there. It's a marriage, it's a life, it's something dangerous.
Mhm.
We need to be there for that person without anything other than just our hearts. Visiting the hospital, like there's so many things like that. Face to face connection, praying over people, like all of that needs to be us.
Yeah.
But other stuff, data organization, tagging members, reporting giving trends, background check tracking, like those things can't keep being done by us physically and expect us to be able to serve in the way we can serve and want to serve.
Yeah, that's
So,
good. And I also added while you were talking, I just screenshotted that section because I thought that that was actually pretty cool to add. So that screenshot is on the screen now if you guys wanted to take a look at it. But I'll leave that up on the screen just for a minute and we'll go ahead and hop in to the next question. But so a common headache for church admins is managing the 5 different platforms that don't talk to each other. One for media, one for scheduling, one for giving, and one for child safety. So how does unifying these workflows into a single ecosystem like Tithely fundamentally change how a church can use AI and data to make better pastoral decisions?
yeah, I mean, we're in a world today where if you're using 50 different things and trying to figure out how to unify it, I mean, you might as well build your own MCP and use
Mhm.
Claude or some kind of AI platform and help all good. And if you can do that, you don't need Tidely. So, congratulations. But most people can't do that. Most people need something that you come into that you can build out, yourself. And we at Tithely here have really, really strived to build a platform that allows everything to come into one space so you can use it. And I think that's important within the AI context, because then you can go in there and you can use AI to see all your data in one spot instead of trying to pull all your data in one spot first. You're just saving a lot of time. Because if you're trying to figure out where everything is, get it into one spot and maybe some crude Excel document, and then from there you try to use AI to help enhance. You've already wasted a bunch of time there. So
Right.
AI is only as smart as the data you feed it. And when your
Mhm.
church is managing a whole bunch of siloed platforms, your data is fragmented. You don't know what's really there, if it's accurate, if it's true, and you spend hours just making sure it's true. When
Yeah.
instead, if you have AI across a unified ecosystem, you can summarize your trends. You can figure out the complexities that you might be missing. You can ask it to find gaps. I mean, we're doing that right now with our knowledge base articles. My team right now,
Mhm.
we're going through and figure out where we're
Yeah.
missing information in our knowledge base articles. So when you guys reach out to support and say, how do I do this? We actually have this information that we're not
Yeah.
missing. Same thing with your church. Who are we missing? Well, we haven't done anything in 2 months or 3 months that reaches out to the teens in our church, and we really want our teen ministry to grow. Boom. And so
Yeah.
the data's got to be in one spot. It's got to be attainable. It's got to be trustworthy, and it's got to be safe. And so using Tithely to get to that place, so then you can go from there and build beyond, is going to be super important. And it just takes the headache out of it. Because
Yeah.
again, there's very few people, I think, that have the administration gift, that just love playing the puzzle master of how everything works. Most
Right.
of us just want to know, who am I supposed to reach out to right now? Help me. Like, where
Yeah.
does this email need to go? Like, I just need to know so I can put my heart into it. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And also, I think something to note, because I know I've thought about it often, and you mentioned it now, is prompting AI. It's only as good as you prompting it.
yeah, true.
Can you share a little bit about just your experience? I think, at least from my perspective, it sometimes can be a little frustrating to deal with AI, because you do have to take the initial time at the beginning to prompt it and teach it well so
Yeah.
that it can start doing stuff for you afterwards. Can you just speak to that a little bit in your experience?
Yeah, I think the first thing to always do in any AI platform, if you've not used it before, if you want it to get understanding, is, this feels a little weird maybe, tell it about who you are, what you want to
Mhm.
accomplish, and where you're trying to go
Yeah.
with it. Just input that in. So if it's Gemini, or if it's Apple's AI, or if it's Copilot, whatever these ones are, use
Yeah.
Claude, like, just tell it about who you are, what you do, and what you hoping to scope within it. Just start basic, start big, like start big, and then come into the more finer elements. And then
Mhm.
don't be afraid to keep going back and challenge it.
Mhm.
So prompts are
Yeah.
great. Like, how do I do this better? If it gives you a bad answer, say, that's wrong. This is more what I think it should be close to. Ask it questions that you know the answer to, but you want to see how it's doing. So you can
Yeah.
give yourself the opportunity to build that trust, that relationship, that context. And then once you get to a great place where you really, really like what you've built, then use it from there, as it has
Yeah.
the background for you. Now, there is a whole 7-day background fade where
Mhm.
AI kind of loses its memory at the back, depending on what you're
Yeah.
doing. There's ways around that. I don't have time to get into all of that, but you can research that and kind of figure some stuff out. But
Mhm.
yeah, prompting it, just starting big picture, moving smaller and smaller, giving it the overall scope of what you are, what you're looking for, what you want to accomplish, then building from there. It
Mhm.
may feel like it's a lot, but honestly, you could just create a doc that has your prompt. Like,
Mhm.
really, the first time you do it,
Yeah.
copy it all down, put it in a Google Doc or somewhere else, and then copy and
Mhm.
paste. Here's what I'm doing, and go for it. Or we
Yeah.
know this with Gemini and Claude, it lets you save those right inside of it, so you can actually build out that initial prompt and go from there. So
Mhm.
I think that answered your question, but let me know if you want more detail.
No, it does. I think it's kind of what you mentioned right at the start of teaching it to be kind of an assistant. And
Yeah.
so it does feel weird, but there is also like there are some AI tools that allow you to actually even just press the mic and speak and just kind of word vomit into AI and
Yeah.
just tell it about yourself. And so if
Yeah.
it feels weird to, like sit there and type it all out, there's also options for you to just say, like, this is who I am. This is what I do at my church. This is like the goals or the tasks that I need your help with.
Yeah.
It seems weird, but you do need to treat it like a personal assistant. Like, give it all the information it
Yeah.
needs so that it can do all the stuff that you don't have time to do.
Oh,
Is
I
essentially
love. Yeah, I mean, Gemini has a conversation thing. I use it all
yeah,
the time when I'm cooking
yeah,
dinner. I'm like, okay, hey, I'm doing this. I'm thinking about this. I'm
yeah.
thinking about this. I'm thinking about this, and
I
it'll
just
just
need to
kind
get
of
it out.
yeah, it just comes back to
Yeah.
me. I just converse with it. So my wife's like, "You talking to me?" I'm like, "No, I'm talking to
Talking
Google."
to Gemini.
And she laughs at me. She's like, "You should talk to me more." I'm like, "You're right." So I thought I hang up and talk to my wife. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Smart. Happily
Well,
married man. Yeah.
yeah, I think yeah, no, I joke all the time because my husband is always talking to Claude as well, and I'm like, "Is she the other woman?" It's how often he's talking to her and giving it information. So, anyway, we've kind of already touched on this, but I'll ask it again just
Oh,
in
well,
case
yeah.
we want to recircle to some topics. But just kind of drawing those hard boundaries with AI is like, what are the specific ministry functions and technology that AI should never touch?
Yeah.
And then how do church teams establish clear ethical guidelines for who gets automated versus what demands that real human presence?
Yeah. I mean, I think number one rule, human in the loop every single time. There
Yeah.
should be nothing that you are presenting to your flock, your fellowship, your people,
Mhm.
other than like a calendar reminder. I mean, that stuff's fine, but I'm saying like
Yeah.
actual things that you are sending out to help spiritual growth in any
Mhm.
capacity. A human has to see, touch, and edit and feel that. Otherwise, you're really risking you are taking your heart out of it. And if your
Yeah.
people find out that something came out that had nothing to do with you or somebody else, then I
Yeah.
think it's gonna hurt. It's gonna break down trust, and
Mhm.
they're gonna wonder what you're doing there. So that's important. Every single piece of content must be reviewed, edited, and approved by somebody. And
Mhm.
you can figure out who that is. And your leadership team should talk about that. Who do we trust to approve this? Who feels
Yeah.
confident that? And someone should just start somewhere. Fact check. I mean, for the love of everything, you need to fact check
Yes.
because
Yeah.
Gemini and Claude and all these guys, they love to lie to you. Like I know I'm telling you to use it. They just
Yeah.
they're built, the
They're just wrong.
algorithms built within them are
Yes.
designed to please you.
Yeah.
So they're gonna tell you something sometimes that isn't true. And you'll be like, are you sure about this? I mean, I use it for
Yeah.
fantasy football. And it lies to me all the time. It told me to pick somebody up. That was a great thing. I was like, they're fourth on the bench.
You're
Like,
lying.
no, you're dumb. Leave me alone. You know,
Yeah.
like, so like fact check,
Yeah.
fact check,
Yeah.
fact check, and call it out. And don't just like say, I think, just ask another question. Say, I think that's
Yeah.
wrong. Check it again. And then go through it like that. That's going to be helpful. You need to build that into your thing. And then no replacements. AI shouldn't replace the creation of the sermons.
Yeah.
It shouldn't replace voices. I
Mhm.
mean, funny satire, maybe like in a video on your sermon where you're saying something silly, sure, but they know it's there. There should never be a point where there's a voice or video replacement that people
Mhm.
think is you, but is not you, right?
Yeah.
That's dangerous. It should never replace pastoral discernment or
Mhm.
empathy. Like that needs to come from us. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. We're trying to free ourselves up to do those things, not take away those things from our plate. And so I think that's kind of the big three: human loop, fact check, and don't replace you. Like that's just
Yeah.
important, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, and that's a great call out, and also kind of to tie it back into Tithely in a way. I think I've made this call out before, but I'll say it again. Like with our chatbots and with our assistant that we use, that if you guys ever write into support, you see Theo first.
Yep.
Like that is us. Like that's Daniel and I. That's the rest of our ops team. Like that's our voice, and of course, it kind of highlights what you just said. AI doesn't always get it right. So there's times where it might mess up, but we strongly believe that even though we're using an AI tool to help you guys, there needs to be human always.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're behind that voice. And every time that it messes up, we go back and we have to say, Theo, don't say that. Like that's wrong. Try again. And so like don't be intimidated to use AI in that way, because at least with us and our team and at Tithely, that we're behind it. We want there to still be that human touch. And so it's all just with the effort of helping you guys faster so that you can focus on things at your church,
Yeah.
that are important to you.
Yeah,
So
we suffer with you. If our
yes.
if our if our AI agent goes
Yeah.
off the rails, we read it all and
Yep.
suffer. There's times I'm like, oh, I'm so
Yes.
sorry they had to deal with that. Oh no.
Yeah.
And then when it goes well, I'm like, oh, look at that. That was perfect. So
Yeah.
we celebrate and we suffer. We're getting better and better. And the same thing with our churches. We got to make sure that we are behind all of it. I love what you said there, Matt, that
Yeah.
transparent with leadership elders on
Mhm.
how the pastors use it is important. And honestly, just transparent with the church. They
Yeah.
should know like that. There shouldn't be a secret behind it. Like you don't want to, because
Sure.
then you're just taking the glory for AI. And no, I mean, obviously we don't want AI to get glory. It's just a robot,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying? Like share. I think that's perfect. I love that. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then keep in mind, guys, if you have questions, feel free to drop it in the Q&A section. We're about to get to that after this last question. So feel free to put stuff in there and we'll address it in a moment. But with this last question,
Ooh.
For anyone who's watching, if it's a pastor or church admin and they just feel overwhelmed by the prospect of changing their tech stack to include AI, what is the single highest leverage operational tweak that you think that they could make to make this month to buy back? Excuse me, that they should make in this month to buy back at least 5 hours of their week, something super practical.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the pastor, take your sermon, right? Preach it, write it out, and then preach it. And then that Sunday night or Monday, or if you have Mondays off, then don't do it Mondays, do it Sunday night or Tuesdays. And
Mm-hmm.
then just have it turn your you can or if you have it recorded, have it take your sermon and turn it into 2 or 3 short clips.
Mm-hmm.
Have it turn into a short lesson that you could send out on Wednesday of like a reminder. Have it create a couple quotes that you can build into your newsletter the next week, or your email newsletter that goes out during the week, or for your website. Just take there and just start pulling stuff from what you built, just a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, and then review and send out, or have somebody do it for you if you can't do it yourself.
Yeah.
Have someone just take your stuff with it. That will make a huge difference in what you can do. If you're an admin, I mean, again, take the numbers from Sunday, take
Mm-hmm.
the range from Sunday, take the count from Sunday, whatever it may be, and ask it to, like, where have we, and put in the last couple of weeks, and just see where you are, see your growth is, see where people are, check out how many people are in kids getting class, how many people came to midweek, use it to just generate some numbers so you have information, so the next decision you make, you go, oh no, this is where we're at really, and this is what we're doing. I think you can take little things like that and just start building confidence over it. And then over 30 days, if you can do that 4 sermons in a row, 4 Sundays in a row, if you preach 4 Sundays in a row, and you pull up just a little bit of content that you can send out, you've saved
Yeah.
somebody time. Or if you haven't saved time, you've never even done this before, you've improved how you're serving your flock and your fellowship. So either way, it's going to help you go that way. So I don't know. I hope that answers that question. Maybe not. Let me know. But
No, it does. And I think obviously I'm not a pastor, but I am a pastor's kid. So I've seen a lot of the back end of things. And I think what really I appreciate you highlighting is typically if you're preaching every Sunday, like once Sunday is over, your mind's already on next week. Like you've
yeah,
got to move on and start prepping for next week. So I think there's a lot of missed opportunity for connection that AI could actually fill the gaps for. Not
yeah,
that human aspect, but like the automation of writing an email to all of those who, watched your sermon and get small clips and stuff like that, that maybe you just don't have the time to think about because you're already moving on to next Sunday. I think that a lot of people could probably relate to that, and I'm sure you have experience in that as well, having been in some kind of church or ministry capacity.
yeah,
Like you just got to move on, and there's a lot of things that AI could help,
yeah.
fill the gaps in when it comes to connecting. So, with that, let me go to the next slide, I guess, and you can
There you
talk
go.
to us about just some kind of practical takeaways or like of everything we've said today. What do you want
Yeah.
people to walk away with?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I did every sermon anyways. I always gave a
Yeah,
challenge to try this week. If you don't, you're missing opportunity. So I
yeah,
learned that very early on from a minister, Jimmy Allen. He taught me this is always have something they can try to do or think about or grow in that week. And so in this one, pick one administrative task. More than 2 hours. If you don't have one that you think takes more than 2 hours, pick 30 minutes. Doesn't matter.
yeah.
Pick a task that takes some time and try to research and find a way to automate it or have AI assist you in some way. Or if it's something that could be done within the Tithely ecosystem itself, set that up. Just
Mm,
find a way to reduce something that you're doing every week that you don't have to do that. Like if it takes you 2 hours, make it so it only takes you 15 minutes, right?
yeah,
Just reduce that. And then take that time and go serve somebody. Go buy a coffee for a leader I put there. Go visit a family that you haven't been at their house for a while. Go to the hospital. Or
yeah,
honestly, go home and take a nap because like you might need it. Like
yeah,
it really could just be
yeah,
you just need some time to decompress and
yeah.
down like a little bit, because I know that doesn't happen often, because there's,
Right.
like I said, in serving as a minister in pastoral care in any capacity, there's always someone else to serve. There's always someone else to love. There's always something else that you could do to help love and show God's love. And so, but sometimes you just need to be refreshed. And so
Yeah.
I don't know, figure out a way to just free up some time that if you spend 3, 4 hours this week, but then the
Mhm.
next 4 weeks, you're only spending 15 minutes,
Yeah.
it'll change your life. So
Yeah. And I see at on our end the resources that you have for a couple AI suggestions. Do we maybe want to include those in the follow-up email and just give some people some
yeah,
ideas of things that they could use. So I guess when you guys get this, it'll be recorded. We'll make sure that we send some resources to you guys afterwards so that you kind of have a starting point of some places or some tools that you can get involved in. But with that, before we jump into the Q&A section, we'll end there. Do kind of want to highlight a product that kind of plays in tandem with what we've been talking about and just automating things, making your life easier and your members' lives easier, is with Tithely Tap. And so if you're not aware, it's a newer product that we have amongst the Tithely like ecosystem of products that we offer. And so again, we will get to the Q&A section, but I'm just going to highlight a quick promotional video for you guys to take a look at.
Use it to connect with them in a real way. I'm a new believer in the Tithely Tap.
Cool. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and hop now into the Q&A section. So you should see those questions as well, DMAC, if there's anyone that you want to jump in and address. But let me take a look here.
Yeah, there was 3. I only see 2 now. I don't know where it went. Did it disappear on me?
It might be at the top, the very top. Sometimes the questions might get cut off at the very top, but it looks like it just says
those text, the blocks that had to X
Oh,
yeah, technology. Yeah. Yay. How is AI integrated into the Tithely platform? We can make public, right? That's what we do. Cool.
Yeah.
So in our end, there's not like a direct AI yet that we have built out fully through, right? It's just not in there. There's something they're working on, I believe. I don't have a ton of information on when it's supposed to be coming out, but I know that is in the works. But in general, a lot of the AI conversation I'm talking about is using outside out AI sources to kind of go in and grab data out or snapshot data out with it or enter stuff into it. So right now there isn't a like, oh, this is AI. Besides our chat bot, like that's AI driven.
Yeah.
And there's some other functions that AI driven. But in terms of the customer, you using our software, there's nothing that is totally AI. And the reason being, and I've had conversations with my manager about this, is that we don't want to rush something out just to jump on AI exists. Like you've all jumped into products where they have AI and it just, you don't use it, doesn't do anything. We're actually trying to create something that is utilized well, and you want to use it and it works, not just to get it there. And so we're working, but at this point, there's nothing that's there that exists that's tangible that you're like using every single day.
Yeah. And the biggest note is what you said, the Tithely, our AI chatbot. Like it's getting better by the day. And so like, don't feel nervous to use it. It might work, like we said, it can still frustrate us and sometimes it's not correct, but I think just give it a shot. Like if you have questions and you're not sure of how to use a feature or whatever, like give it a shot. Again, it may not always be correct, but that's what we're doing behind the scenes. It's just trying to make it as good as we can for you guys. And I think that question also kind of addressed what Brad said here about that AI integration. So also look out for the fact that we are trying to have a little bit more integration for webinars with our product team. So they're going to be the ones who are able to get on here and talk maybe a little bit more specifically about the roadmap of things. We're doing our best on our side, but the roadmap is usually more specific to the product team. And so, but I do want to make a highlight that we're connecting more on them with future webinars. So keep an eye out for those.
And for sure, if anyone from product is on a webinar, grill them. Just ask them lots of questions. We do it all the time. Like, when is coming? Tell us when. They keep us in the dark too much, because if they tell us too much, we're going to tell you, and then we get in trouble. So
exactly.
Generally, I don't know a lot because of that very reason. So if they're there, ask those questions, please.
100%. I see Mike here is asking as well, what are some things to cover in conversation with church leadership about the use of AI? That sometimes it can seem sneaky, but that is, of course, not the intention.
Yeah. I mean, again, being very clear on where you want to use it, why you want to use it. And I would even give them a sample. I think something like if you're going to your leadership team and you want to kind of present them like, hey, we should use this. And like, no, create something with AI that's yours, right? Like take the sermon from last Sunday and build some stuff from it and say, hey, check out these great resources. Say, this is what I did with AI. Check out these great resources. Don't sneak into them because they might not like that.
Mhm.
Or I don't know, you can do whatever you want, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
suggest that. Create something from what you guys have already, present it to them and say, this is what we can do. Just one step here will allow us to do A, B, and C, or, create an image for an event coming up that you could put on a slide that looks way better than something that you do or I do.
Yeah.
Obviously look out for the 6 fingers, you don't want those things popping up there, but the
Right.
hands in AI. But yeah, I think just taking a shot and giving a couple samples of how it'll work and then start using it in your, whatever you're doing, use it to enhance your work and share about it. Like, don't sneak around, like be bold. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. It's working great. You guys should check this out. Kind of being excited about it, right?
Yeah.
His disciples didn't walk around saying, hey, come check out Jesus, right? They were excited about it. Most people who want to follow someone into an idea that's not common or that's not comfortable starts someone being excited. So be excited about it.
Yeah. And that does kind of play into, we've been talking about it so much at Tithely and within our team of like the working geniuses, but it reminds me of galvanizing, like being like, share what you're working on. Cause even within Tithely, we have meetings often where we get together and we say, what are you using AI for? And then we're learning from each other. And so I think that's the best way to avoid like seeming sneaky, even if you're not really being sneaky. It's just to do exactly what you said, like get people to rally around the idea that it's doing some pretty cool stuff for you. Kind of everything that DMAC was mentioning. But I see here we've got another question from Kathy that says, I'm 71 and just learning about AI. What comes up on my computer is ChatGPT. Is that a good one, or is there something better for a church admin?
I honestly have not spent a ton of time figuring out exactly what's great for a church admin function. My own little notes I had here, Claude and ChatGPT tend to be what I hear a lot of administrators going towards. Claude being something that has a lot more depth to it, but ChatGPT is really great just for that chat back kind of production thing. If you have a product, like if you have Apple, their AI would be similarly good. Same with Google. So I think use what you're comfortable with. Use the ecosystem of technology you might already be in. If that doesn't matter to you at all, then look into Claude. It's become more and more popular. Claude does require some kind of money if you want to use it more than just very passively. But if this is just a simple, I want to try A, B, and C, ChatGPT will do a great job for you. They're doing a good job at what they're doing. And so, but there are specific ones, for example, like, sermon clips. If you're in charge of clipping stuff like that, you can use sermon clips. Pulpit AI is another one. Canva. Honestly, if you're an admin and you're in charge of making nice, pretty images, Canva is awesome for that. And they have a good AI platform there. If you want to do some theological research, I know I'm answering another question on top of this, but I don't think there's another one there. Logos. If you've never used Logos before they had AI, they have an AI platform within there. That's actually pretty cool. Again, take a grain of salt. There could be some bones in there. You got to take the meat, spit out the bones, kind of enjoy what's good and get rid of what's not great. Every AI platform has its shortcomings. Everyone has something else that does better than someone else. Find what you're comfortable with. And if it's working for you, go for it. Hey, you could ask ChatGPT, are there better AI platforms for them to do? Generally it'll answer because it doesn't really, it wants to please you. It won't just say, just use me. So you can ask AI how to use AI. And I don't know, you'll probably get some better answers from that too.
Yeah. So. That's good. And again, this webinar is being recorded, and so everyone will get the recording afterwards. But we, I think I'll speak with our team on the back end and see if there's a way that we can kind of compile maybe a list of some good AI tools that you guys can use to have in that follow-up email. Just so it gives you kind of a place to start from. Let's see. Another question just came in from Matt. It says, I use AI to polish my thoughts. Sometimes it's hard to turn ideas into my head into smooth English. AI helps me by taking my rough thoughts and making them grammatically correct and clear. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm 1000% behind that, Matt. Like I'm good at speaking. I'm generally good at impromptu. I love being in front of people, but like the coming up with the initial cohesive flow, that is challenging. So that's why I just vomit. I vomit my thoughts out there. Like the scripture I want to use, all the thoughts I want to use, the question I want to do. And at the beginning I put my summary. At the end I put down like what I want to do. I sometimes voice it, by the way. I don't always type this. I'll put at the top summary. I'll put at the end what I'm hoping them to get out of it. And here's all my thoughts in between. Please put this into some kind of outline for me. And then I take the outline, I enhance the outline. So I fill in blanks in the outline, and then I ask it to write it up into a polished form that I can present in a sermon. And then I take that and I practice off of that. And then when I finally preach, it's a hybrid of my voice coming off from it and the enhancements that's giving me to sound better. So I don't think you're doing anything wrong or evil at that.
That's awesome.
You're just improving upon what you have as an idea. And yes, I'm with you, Matt. I could never be a writer. If I had to be a writer to survive, I'm going to starve. So just not my style, man. Never will be. So
yeah. Well,
41, cool. Too late to change that.
Yeah. You're like, we're in too deep now. It just is what it is. Cool. Well, I think that is all the questions we got submitted. And so again, just want to thank you guys all for joining us today. We hope that you learned something from this. Again, the recording will be sent out to those who registered within the next day or two. If you do have any questions, the best and fastest way to reach our team is going to be via the chat bubble that's located on your dashboard. And so you can reach out to our team if you have any questions that maybe come up after we end today. But unless you have anything else you want to summarize on for us, Daniel, we'll call it here.
No, I think just figure out ways to allow yourself to serve and love the people you're serving and love with more time and more energy by taking away the things that just take up your time and sap your energy, and find people that love to help in those ways too. Get people on board. So.
Well, thanks so much again, Daniel, for all the good insight. We appreciate you guys all for joining us today. As always, we'll see you guys in the next one, but we hope you have a great rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.